Hello and welcome to my presentation about the unique challenges and opportunities of modern-day academic law libraries, which I'm going to present through the example of the Alexander King Law Library at the University of Georgia, where I have been employed for 10 years. My name is Sylvia, and I am about to start. So I believe that a lot of different audiences could benefit from this presentation, even though I designed it with my librarian colleagues in mind. Firstly, however, current MLIS students could also learn a lot about academic law libraries and academic libraries in general, whereas university leadership could get a deeper understanding of how these special academic law libraries function and the underlying reasons for that. Since members of the legal profession are major stakeholders in law schools and thereby in law libraries, I would also recommend this webinar to them, in addition to the members of the local community interested in what law libraries have to offer. So to give you an overview, I will be comparing and contrasting how academic law libraries differ from other undergraduate libraries from 6 different viewpoints. They're placed within the university structure, stakeholders and patron groups served, collection, management and leadership, library programs and services, and last but not least, literacy and technology instruction. Somewhat surprisingly, most academic law libraries in the US are not part of the larger university-wide library system. Instead, they operate under the jurisdiction of the law school, which has been stipulated by the American Bar Association since 1928. While this accreditation criteria is not mandatory anymore, most law schools prefer to be grandfathered into this longstanding regulation, and only a few opt for the alternate solution of becoming just another branch within the campus-wide standard library system. Quote from the ABA standards, "A law school shall maintain a law library that provides support through expertise, resources, and services adequate to enable the law school to carry out its program of legal education, accomplish its mission, and support scholarship and research." Adelman, an expert in the field, states that these law school libraries are typically characterized by direct reporting to the law school dean, a budget allocation directly from the law school dean or the university central administration, and a law library mission with a purely law school-centered approach. This is absolutely true in the case of UGA's Alexander King Law Library. The UGA Law School motto of Prepare, Connect, Lead is echoed in the UGA Library's mission statement, which promises to provide exceptional resources and expertise to support scholarship, instruction, and learning for the law school community, as it is stated on the law schools and the law library's website, respectively. Stakeholders and patron groups served. As we see, UGA School of Law students and faculty and staff, first and foremost, then other UGA students, faculty, and staff from around campus, the legal profession, and of course, the local community. Ballas sums it up perfectly when he states that the law library belongs to everyone, students, staff, alumni, and the local practicing bench and bar. It is the meeting place where these various groups come together to collaborate. However, in my personal experience, being an integral part of the law school, the UGA Law Library, like many other special academic law libraries, is predestined and obligated to make serving the needs of this tight-knit legal community its top priority. Naturally, serving the wider university and local communities is also an important aspiration of the law library, but only as a secondary goal. This is the direct opposite of other undergraduate academic libraries, trying to serve not just their immediate campus communities, but do as much as possible to expand their reach to the local community as well. Gorham and Yeager observed that academic law libraries have remained largely focused on a very small user population, namely law school students and faculty, rather than the larger campus and surrounding community, thereby echoing my previous point. The same authors also suggest that to remain relevant and to demonstrate their value to the law schools that they serve, Law school libraries must change the old self-destructive approach of generally trying to be more exclusive than inclusive. And I totally agree with that. Moving on to library collections, we're going to be talking about the size of the collection, the nature of the collection, collection development policies, and the budget for that. The Alexander Campbell King Law Library is both the oldest and the largest law library in the state of Georgia and has a sizable collection in excess of 500,000 volumes in print, plus a rapidly growing collection of electronic resources. Yet, the size of its collection is easily dwarfed by the 4.6 million books that the University of Georgia Libraries houses just next door on the Athens campus. Another significant difference is that while the UGA libraries offer resources that span academic subject areas and genres from poetry and fiction books to musical scores and even the latest movies and television shows on DVD, our law library's collection is rather homogeneous and mostly legal in nature. So much so that, as McAllister and Brown point out, many legal resources are not designed with academic customers in mind. The same authors go on to explain that law library collections are often a hybrid of print subscriptions, traditional databases, and non-traditional resources. And in my opinion, that is actually a similarity with academic libraries in this modern era of technological advancements and changing patron needs. I certainly believe that this is also a global phenomenon that is recognizable in all types of libraries across the board. Tucker, the director of one of the flagship academic law libraries in Australia, seems to mirror this idea when she describes how her library for many years has provided comprehensive collections of primary and secondary sources, which are essential to scholars and legal practitioners in training. But by now, due to developments in technology, and in the priorities of the university and the legal industry, have resulted in changes in the way we develop and manage our collections, including the reduced size of the physical collection. Another definite difference that we saw on the previous slide is that according to the Digital Library of Georgia, which states that the UGA Law Library serves as a selective depository of United States government documents, and is only one of 11 law school depositories of European Union documents, and it also maintains an extensive collection of United Nations documents. While analyzing the relevant collection development and management guidelines of the Alexander King Law Library, it becomes apparent that purchase requests submitted by law faculty are prioritized above requests from any other interest group. McAllister and Brown helps us put this phenomenon in perspective by pointing out the utmost importance of the very competitive law school rankings and highlight how retaining well-regarded law faculty and supporting their publishing endeavors often has a direct impact on library collections. Due to the large volume of faculty across UGA's main library and the campus, the library is just not in the same position and cannot satisfy similar professoral needs. Gorman and Yeager predicted that due to the emergence of free electronic databases, such as Google Scholar, and improvements to subscription databases such as Westlaw, Lexis, Academic, and Bloomberg Law, the academic law libraries in the 21st century will consist primarily of digital information with only limited exceptions. For example, annotated code, session laws, and regulatory code of the state in which a law school is situated. Leadership and management. We're going to be talking about organizational structure, qualifications, and budgeting. Edelman notes that the ABA standards require all academic law libraries to have a qualified director, but have never required a specific organizational structure. To clarify, being qualified means having both a Juris Doctorate and an MLIS degree. In fact, the same ABA standards also mandate that librarians without a Juris Doctorate cannot be promoted to the rank of Law Library Director. Having studied the management and organizational structure of both types of libraries, special academic law libraries and undergraduate academic libraries have a lot in common. They are either organized based on the unit head model, which is the multiple associate director model for law libraries, or function in a team-based structure. According to the same author, a combination of the above-mentioned structures is also popular for both kinds of libraries. Ballast sums it up well when he states that the law library director and the law library staff manage relationships, personnel, facilities, a collection, and a budget, as well as providing and managing services to various groups. I also agree with Studwell, who remarks that not only must the head of the law library plan for the future of the library space, personnel, programs, and services, she must be aware of the changes that are predicted for the law school as a whole and for the legal profession. However, in my own experience, and because of the existing power structure and symbiotic relationship between the law school and the law library, it is in fact the law school dean who is the de facto leader of the library, since they have the final say in everything that happens in the building housing both the law school and the law library. Edamon reaffirms my observation by pointing out that the law library's budget is, in fact, allocated from the law school budget at the discretion of the dean. While this setup could be considered more advantageous compared to the central academic libraries on campuses, more money in the budget, faster and easier decision-making process, better understanding of patron needs, Edelman reminds us that it also has its drawbacks by noting that in times of a perpetual state of financial strain, the law school may think of its autonomous law library as a financial burden whose funds can be relocated for other purposes. Generally speaking, it is true in most cases that academic law libraries operate with a healthier budget than most undergraduate academic libraries. Nevertheless, it is worth noting that certain stipulations of the ABA mandate the purchase of particular legal resources, which are rather expensive both in print and electronic formats. Another expense to consider is the elevated cost of salaries and wages of a highly educated professional law library staff, where most of the law librarians have both a Juris Doctorate and an MLIS degree. Library programs and services will observe patron groups served, types of programs and services, and budgeting. As McAllister and Brown correctly state, every library has its own approach to navigating tensions between values and user needs, but law libraries face additional pressures because of the weight of faculty satisfaction and the obligation to prepare students to practice law. Case in point, the ABA standards command that a law library shall provide the appropriate range and depth of reference, instructional, bibliographic, and other services to meet the needs of the law school's teaching, scholarship, research, and service programs. Once again, this automatically means that the vast majority, if not all, of the law library's services are geared towards law students and faculty. While the UGA Law Library offers public hours where non-UGA affiliated patrons are allowed to visit our library and potentially take advantage of our excellent legal resources and services, the overwhelming majority of our patrons are in fact our own law students and professors. Consequently, our services and programming are designed for this mostly homogeneous patron base, with special attention to the distinct and different needs of the first, second, and third year law students as a group. Literacy and technology instruction. Again, we're going to look at patron groups served, types of programs and services, and budgeting. Abbott realized even more than 20 years ago that the most obvious and possibly the most important social force affecting librarianship now is technological change. This holds true even today and applies to all public, school, special, and academic libraries alike. However, keeping up with the ever-changing technological demands of the legal profession necessitates an even more profound response from academic law libraries than from their undergraduate counterparts on university campuses. Having read numerous sources on the topic combined with my decade-long experience working in an academic law library, I have come to understand that both technological competency and technological fluency are fundamental to the current and future practice of law. Thereby, they should be a core part of legal education. To quote one of these sources, in his article, Burns emphasizes that in developing curricula, educators should not only engage with academic, legal, and pedagogical literature, but also anticipate the complex technology-focused demands of current and future legal practice and professional workplaces. X. Fox goes a step further when she states that legal literacy instruction should finally be embraced as the heart of the profession of law librarianship. Broussard even calls on tomorrow's lawyers to adopt a lifelong learning approach to incorporating new technologies and applications into their daily lives as practitioners. In the case of the Alexander Campbell King Law Library, our expertly trained law librarians are responsible for teaching the mandatory 4-credit class for all incoming students on legal research. Additionally, they have been encouraged by the law school administration to develop more advanced research classes for undergraduate, graduate, and certificate level courses as well. The latest examples of these upper level research classes range in topics from administrative, business, environmental, and international law, to name just a few. Our information technology librarian is also responsible for developing and teaching 2 separate classes focusing on legal technology. One of them is titled Technology Skills for Legal Practice, while the other one focuses on artificial intelligence and its implications for the legal profession. In conclusion, at first glance, special academic law libraries are not much different from other academic libraries. However, upon closer examination, it becomes apparent that there are a lot of special circumstances that result in a significant differences as well. The underlying reason lies in the special, autonomous status of most of the U.S. academic libraries within the central university structure, which is mandated by the standards of the American Bar Association. Another important factor is the legal profession as a whole being one of the major stakeholders in law schools and thereby in law libraries. Subsequently, the goal of the law school itself are mirrored in the mission and vision statements of these law libraries as well. This obviously means that the library's budget, personnel, collection, and programming serve the mostly homogeneous patron base of law students and faculty first and foremost. Other on and off-campus communities are only secondary considerations during resource allocation and program development. Most law librarians hold both a Juris Doctor and an MLIS degree, therefore they are called upon and expected to teach both formal and informal legal information literacy and technology classes, as well as support law faculty in their research needs. While you're looking at the references, I would also like to thank you for your time and your attention. And I hope I managed to shed some light on how I see the differences and similarities between undergraduate and law libraries that operate on university campuses, and summarize what all this means as far as challenges and opportunities of modern day academic libraries in general. I would also like to encourage you, if you have any questions or would like to discuss this topic further, to contact me personally. My contact information can be seen on this very last slide. Thank you again.